Hey, this is Brian with Concerts That Made Us podcast, and you're listening to Pods Like Us, a great show about other great shows.
Hello and welcome to. Oh, hey, excuse me. Oh, hey, what?
Nothing. I didn't stop talking when I should have.
This is going to be a fun show. Hello and welcome to Pods Like Us. I'm Martin Crabell, known to my friends as Marv, and this time I am talking to Veronique Hurley and Mat
Labotka.
Thank you very much, from Grumble Goat. Thank you for chatting with me and for sorting out my pronunciation of the name.
Absolutely. It's no problem. Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Yes, happy to be here. Thank you.
It's fine. That's great. Thank you for chatting with me. So, How were you both introduced to podcast?
Podcasts in general?
Yes.
Well, I guess I was listening to NPR, National Public Radio, here in the States, where, that's sort of, it's like a talk radio situation. And I love the stories there, like This American Life. And they have game shows on there like Wait, Don't Tell Me. And I just love those shows. And those became podcasts. They just started broadcasting them as podcasts early in the podcast game. And so I made the transition pretty early. And those were the podcasts that I started listening to.
Yeah, I didn't really listen to podcasts, actually. It was when I met Matt that I started to listen to more of them. And some friends had suggested some good podcasts. And then, over the past, year and a half, I think podcasts have really blown up. So I've started listening to more, of course, than we started one. So I started listening to more just from that anyway. But yeah, it was a really fun new medium for me, at least to work with when we started Grumble Goat. But I primarily, like theater and would, watch maybe television shows or movies or read plays, not necessarily listen to something. But I do like that ambient sound sometimes of just having something in the background now that I have been listening to more and more. It's like, you become friends with the people that you're listening to on some weird level that you're like, oh, I want to listen to, I'm trying to think of one of the people in our group, but like, I want to listen to a familiar voice or, I want to hear their personality right now. So I get excited, hearing my friends that aren't really my friends or know me at all, The
podcasters I listen to that I feel like are my friends, but I don't know them and they don't know me, are the McElroy brothers, who do My Brother and Me. And the way I got introduced to them was they do a Dungeons and Dragons podcast called The Adventure Zone. And I love those guys. Oh, those guys have so much personality. Oh, yeah, they're my idols in podcasting.
Yeah, I've always said that even with radio and now with podcast, that a good thing is that it's almost like you've got company with you there in the room, as opposed to television, which can be a bit intrusive and it's just something you have to. A good podcast or a good radio show is something that's just there as company, and as a friend, as you say, it's almost like an invisible friend in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've really enjoyed taking some walks, in the park and just, putting on like Death and Decay podcast, like just hearing their stories. And yeah, it's been great. And even if you're off in your own thoughts, you can come back to their conversation and still chuckle or still listen, in that moment and take something from what they're saying.
I'm a bicycle commuter here in New York City. I bicycle all over these streets, and so I spend a lot of time just by myself on the bicycle. And so I listen to a ton of podcasts just commuting back and forth from work. Yeah, I love it. My phone is chock full of all sorts of different podcasts.
We should do a comparison and see who's got the most, shall we? Podcast. Dear me.
I've no doubt you have the most. I mean, this is you made a podcast about all the podcasts you listen to. That's remarkable.
And now I have to find the time to listen to them all.
That's the trouble, isn't it? Once you start falling behind on podcasts and you're like, oh, I got to catch up with all my friends.
That's right, yep. And they remind you as well, like, have you listened to this episode yet? No, I've not got round to it yet. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Now all of our friends and family, they know the podcast, and most of them are fans and listen to it. But like now, that's part of their go-to conversation. They're like, "Oh, how's Grumble Goat going?" So of course, I immediately follow up like, "Oh, are you caught up?" And they're always like, "Shouldn't have asked. Shouldn't have mentioned it."
But and our format lends itself to binging because the episodes are so short. So I know a lot of our friends and family like listen to like 4 at a time, or So
yeah.
So they're always like, I listen to them in a group. Like, okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna get upset about one thing, why not get upset about 4 things?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll get to that later. So, how did you get this? How did the idea for the show? Well, I can see why the idea of the show came about. But so, what's the history of the show then, and how did you get it started?
Yeah, nobody needs prompting to have to grumble about things. The show is it's an idea that was formulating in my brain for years. Just like I wanted, because I always like once I get into my whiskey, I always go on these long rants about these obscure small things that I just hate, like gum, for instance, like innocuous tiny things that just drive me insane. And I always do these little rants, and I dabble in. I do improv comedy. I do stand-up comedy. I'm a performer. And so, I do bits of these in stand-up. And I was like, this is the podcast. But to me, it always felt a little incomplete. So I didn't start it because I was like, it's missing an element.
Yeah, you can't just have someone angry.
Yeah, you can't just
like,
have
rah, rah, rah,
angry.
rah,
Because despite it being comedy, you can't just have somebody angry yelling in your ear.
No, it's
but
exhausting.
Then when I met her, it was her dynamic because she has this beautiful, like, optimism that she's always optimistic, and she has this amazing ability to just listen and receive what you're saying and then like just have a gut reaction to it. like it's just
Bob.
Yeah. And she has this beautiful dynamic that's actually the exact opposite of what the podcast vision I had was. And I was like, that's exactly what it needed.
Yes, the unpretentious one.
It needs a 2-minute grumble about something, and then it needs that exact opposite. Like, let me hear what you're saying. What's got your goat?
We need a release, right? You have all this tension that builds up with something, and you stub your toe, and you're like, I just needed to yell and release that, It's the same thing with the grumble of like, why do they put a handle on a door when it's a push? It's like,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
it works you up every time. You feel stupid every time you walk through that door, and every time you see that door, it's coming, and you can't remember. And then you get anxious, and that makes it worse, and then you just do the wrong thing anyway. Even if you knew going into holding it, you're like, this is a pull, and you push, right? So you need that release, that laughter that we need so much of right now because things are so serious, and serious in a good way, and hopefully change will happen, around the world. But we need a release, right? We need that. We need to laugh. There's too much nastiness going around.
Exactly. Because the purpose of the grumble is not to be angry.
Right.
The purpose of the grumble is just to let out that tension.
Yeah.
And then
Yes. Yep.
and then the segment after that, the What's Got Your Goat, is just this nonsensical, non sequitur, just train of thought to get us completely away from any of that anxiety we had at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to switch topics, and you're not going to learn a thing.
That is our...
I was going to say that's so true. You know, it's you get it out of your system, and it doesn't matter whether there's an outcome to it or not. You've just got that thing that really, I'm trying not to swear here, that really irritates the hell out of you. Just get it out there, and then it's done with, in a way.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
And, we've had some comments where it's like, oh, they don't really go in depth. And that's not really what we want. Like, we don't want to go in depth in a topic. There are other podcasts that will do that much better than us. So, go listen to those. But if you want to relax.
If you want to learn about the topics, this isn't the podcast for you. If you want to laugh about things and blow off some steam, this is the podcast for you.
Yeah, totally. And get to know us. I think we share, little bits and pieces about ourselves every episode, which is nice.
Yeah. I've noticed that Matt is the one who does the most grumbling. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, because he is the Grumble Goat.
I'm the Grumble Goat. Yeah.
In the beginning, it was just us. And obviously with the pandemic, it was really just us. But, he was saying well, you can grumble if you want to. And I was just thinking to myself, well, I don't really have a whole lot that I'm angry about. Because I just get over it pretty quickly. And I don't realize I have a grumble until it's that push-pull moment at the door. And I'm like, ah! And then I totally forget about it, 2 seconds later as I'm walking down the street. I get very distracted. But yes.
Yeah, she's so blissfully optimistic that she doesn't get upset about things, so she grumbles less frequently.
Yes, but my personality-wise, it takes me a very long time to get angry about something, like actually angry about something. So that's scary. Then it's scary territory of Veronique you don't want to see. Rawr! The lioness comes out of the den.
But when you do grumble, it really jumps out. That it is something that is really, really serious, like that you mentioned with the door. That is really irritating. I'm sure that they put a pull bar on a push on purpose to make you look stupid.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't be able to buy a door that way. There should not be, right? Because you can only open a door one way. You either push it or you got to pull it. But
isn't there a little bit of room for design elements in a door? What if that nice brass handle just looks nice and you want people to feel like this is a powerful, sturdy structure, even though it's a push?
No, then you need that brass structure in a flat thing on the door so I can put my hand on it and push it open. I just it really gets my goat. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I feel like I had another point there, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, you've described the show, that's for sure. So we've got description, the show history. So I think I made a mistake putting out an open call for people to get sent.
Oh my gosh!
Everybody's got them. And see, the thing about the grumble, though, the topic, is that the requirement for the topic is it has to be something that's not universally hated.
Yes.
It has to be something innocuous. So that's the standard I set for myself. So we never grumble about taxes.
Right.
We never grumble about cancer. Because we don't want to grumble about things that everybody universally hates.
And the not funny things.
Yeah. We want them to be lighthearted and things that people don't often think about, but once you get into it, you're like, yeah, you know what? That is upsetting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Something you cannot start a revolution about,
I don't know. I'm ready to start a revolution against Diet Coke.
Oh, I guess the environment. We can definitely march for the environment.
Yeah,
and
that's my grumble.
Bags we can march for. Recyclable bags.
You want to march for the bags?
Well, finally, our grocery store got it together. But now they're giving away that weird bag. It's like blue, and I don't think it's recyclable. And they double bag that too. It's like a felt bag. It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't understand everybody's obsession with bags. We just carry bags with us. We bring bags. I always have a backpack. Like,
I mean, I had 2 bags yesterday.
you don't need the grocery store to put everything in 16 bags.
16 bags for like 15 things.
You buy a bundle of bananas, and bananas for some reason are already coming in a plastic bag, and you buy it, and then at the till they're going to put it in another plastic bag, and then they're going to take that plastic bag and put it inside another plastic bag, thus triple bagging the bananas. And you're like, the bananas are already wrapped by nature. What do I need 3 bags for?
I just love when you go to the store and they're like, "Are you sure you don't want a bag?" I'm like, "I told you I don't want a bag." "Are you sure?"
They're like, "I got all these bags right here. I got to give them to somebody." They're like addicts. They're like, have so many bags they have to push on.
I mean, it's not like the cashier is a tipped employee, so there's no reason why you need to give me more bags.
How many bags they give away? They're all under the big thumb of big bag.
Yeah. Anyway, how do you feel about bags?
I agree with you. I'll go to the I'll go to the shop and I'll see, like you said, or tomatoes or tomatoes as you call them over there, and bananas and potatoes, and you think, why are they in bags? What is the point? You've got them in bags, and then they give you another bag to put those bags into.
Yeah.
And it's plastic.
Yeah, it's plastic.
But we're upset about the straws. Somehow we got legislation about straws, but not. I mean, now we have the plastic bag.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, they led us with the some sort of environmentalist dog whistle to hate straws and try and ignore all the bags and the gasoline and all the spillage and the BP oil spills and polluting the earth. And like, now we have to worry about straws because one turtle got a tracheotomy. Now it's straws are the bad thing for the environment. It's like, no, it's all the bags. Stop putting bags everywhere.
So you know what I do now. So he likes the plastic straws because he's like, we don't like to support, new things. But if there is a plastic straw that is presented to me, I have to take it home and I hoard it for Matt so he can use the plastic straw instead of the paper straw that disintegrates as you use it.
Yes.
Yes. Corn. We need to use corn.
Corn for the straws is much better.
Yeah. We grow so much corn. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can have biodegradable straws. I think it's insensible that everybody's so upset about the straws when there's so much plastic. I mean, single-use water bottles. Everybody's obsessed with buying Dasani water bottles.
Don't get them started on the plastic. It comes for free
out of the tap.
Yeah.
You can just drink water right out of the wall for free, but everybody wants to go to the store and spend $1.99 on a plastic single-use bottle of water.
And then they were surprised to know, it's not recyclable.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Did you think that all that plastic was going to be recyclable? In our naive minds.
You opened this ball of wax. You asked what's got our goat.
So one of the things that we haven't talked about that is on my list, but I don't know if I can use it as a grumble on our show, and I feel like I'm moments away from mentioning it. But the thing is when we grumble, we don't tell each other about it. So that's the thing. If a guest comes on, we don't want to know what the grumble is until the conversation because it's an improv as well as the surprise of what it is. It gives the guest an opportunity to lead us to it so we can kind of go on more tangents or just kind of discover it on our own.
Yeah, because the idea of the what's got your goat portion, the interview portion, is not to come to an agreement. It's not for an argument. It's to get the other person's temperature on what the topic is. So we don't want to know what the grumble is so that we don't have preconceived notions of whether to like or dislike something. So we like it to sort of drop. We like it to drop casually in conversation, and then you can find out just what their initial feeling is as you drop it casually in conversation. Yeah. Rather than say, this is what I'm grumbling about. And then you're like, yeah, I could grumble about that. Hey. Because, we want it to be honest reactions, and it's not about convincing each other. It's not about arguing. It's about learning what everybody's opinions and and what their idea is on the topic.
I'm Agent Scott, and I'm Cam the Provocateur, and we're from the Spy Hards Movie Podcast. That's right, and you are listening to Pods Like Us, the podcast that has a license to thrill.
So I think this is a good opportunity. Now you're in a different industry than we are. How do you feel about people asking for something for free? So say you go to a restaurant and you don't like something and you say, oh, I don't like this. I think that I should get this for free because I didn't like it. Or say you get a glass of wine and they say, oh, I don't like this. And you're like, oh, okay. What don't you like about it? And they're like, oh, it wasn't what I expected. And you're like, okay, would you like something else? And they're like, no. And you're like, okay, but I should get that for free.
I'm wondering if you're describing a very American thing that he's just not familiar with.
But that's what
Marv,
I'm asking.
Do you come across this a lot?
Do people ask for things for free?
I know a work colleague of mine who pulls that trick when he goes to restaurants.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It is universal.
He does it on purpose.
I knew it.
He will eat a lot of the food and then he'll leave a little bit of us aside and go, I didn't like that, I don't want to pay for that, it made me feel badly, I've got stomachache or something. And then he will get away without having actually paid for it. And actually him doing that does get my goat when he said that he's done it, because I'm like, somebody's made that food and spent hours or making that food for you, doing it. It's a good meal and you're
You're claiming that your philosophy, or what's this, your sturdy, your stature, your the person?
A person.
I can't think of the funny word for it, but like your being is so important that you deserve to have things for free.
Yep.
And like, I just don't get it, right? Like they spent money on that food. They spent money on that food to provide that food. They have to pay rent for the, you know what I mean? And so like, that's just one person. But if that's 10 people that come into the restaurant to do that, then like, what are we supposed to do? You walked into my whole thing about it is you walked into the restaurant or you walked into the establishment, right? Whatever it is. So you agreed to pay for whatever you are asking for. If you walk in there, you are agreeing to pay for something. So
I wonder if that type of person ever goes to their landlord. It's like, I didn't spend 30 days in my apartment this month. I really didn't enjoy there was a breeze coming in through the window. I'm not paying rent. I think I get this month for free.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Or like a department store. If you go in to go shopping and you're going to buy some shoes or something and you're like, oh, I really like these shoes, but like it's a little too high of a heel. Can I have 10% off? You're like, what? That's the shoe you want. Why are you asking for money off? You know, like
I like the idea of getting a surgery, like getting a knee replacement surgery, and coming back like 2 weeks later, being like, I don't know about this one. It feels a little wonky.
Yeah,
and let's slap a new one in there. Like, let's try again. Yeah.
It's like what you're saying is that the time and energy that you spent to do your job. And like, I know people forget about servers. I mean, that's part of being a good server is that you forget about them when you walk out of the restaurant. You don't want to think about the server's day. You don't care about the day. You just want to go in and have a nice meal with the person that you're with.
I like that idea of like walking out of a restaurant being like, that was really good food. And like the other person being like, well, but how did it get to the table? Everybody just being like, oh my God, I have no idea how it got to the table.
We forgot. We forgot about the server.
We didn't notice the server at all.
It just appeared.
But again, it's basically pooping on someone's experience, someone's knowledge of the menu, like the chefs in the kitchen, like just the establishment in general. And it drives me crazy because if you genuinely, and this is the thing, I will say, if you genuinely do not like something, let's get you something else, right? Like I want you to leave happy and have a wonderful time. But when you ask me for something for free, it drives me nuts. I'm like, no, you're in my house now. I decide whether you can get something for free.
You can't demand something for free. It's like going over to a house party and be like, can I take,
the hamburger helper that isn't out for everyone to enjoy? It's like just weird. So,
Marv, I'm very happy that you don't do that.
I absolutely do not do that.
Wow, we got your goat.
I know. Yeah.
And it leads into one thing that gets on my friend Sam's, one of his grumbles, which is he says he hates it when people go abroad, but they don't eat the delicacy from that country and they'll eat their own food.
Yes, I think that's a really good grumble. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good grumble.
Why are you going to the country if you don't want to experience the country?
Yeah, you could have just put on like a documentary about that country and like seen all the sites.
Exactly, and
without bothering with having to breathe their air or drink their water.
Or learn their language.
Yes.
Right?
That one gets his goat as well, because he lives in Spain and he's fluent in Spanish. And he says, why do people come over to Spain from England but don't even bother to know any Spanish? And just continue speaking English when they go there, and expect the Spanish people to be fluent in English.
Oh yeah. I mean, Americans do that all the time. We just think that like everyone should speak English, which is absurd
And ridiculous.
because it's actually more prominent to speak two languages. Because Americans are so obnoxious. But yes, I completely agree with you. Like, if you're going to go to another country, you should at least learn a few words. And you can most people do speak English, so you can get around, but you should acknowledge the language. I know when I was going to go to France, my family members were like, make sure you greet them all in French first, or they won't talk to you.
It's like, okay, I'll say bonjour to everyone first before I say
bonjour.
Right. Je m'appelle Veronique. How do I get to the subway? Like, or the underground. I know they call it the underground in England. I'm not sure what they call it in England or France. I forgot. But yes.
I don't know. I've never been to France, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah. It's... yes, it was fun though. Speaking of the subway in France, there's so many tunnels that like you have to. There's so many stairs. Like there's stairs down. That's like what I remember. Anyway, this isn't interesting.
You live in New York City. There's subways everywhere. There's lots of stairs.
no, but the subway
Subway's a little cooler.
a little cooler in France.
It's cooler.
Yeah,
it's
because
got cooler stairs.
It's like old timey, like narrow stairs.
Oh,
like you could fall and hurt yourself stairs.
oh, yeah, safety non-compliant stairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least it was a while back. I haven't been in a long time, but yes.
I think that most of those stairs, are made out of catacombs or piles of bones or something like that.
That's what they were saying, that if the subway stopped, then the city would be lower or it may collapse because the tension of the subway moving or something, because there's so many different
Places in the catacombs.
There's like the
under
perfect
city.
amount of vibration.
Yeah,
coming from the
it
subway
keeps everything up. I think. I don't.
the essence that
Someone told me that and I never looked it up.
the spiritual vibration is the heartbeat of it's like the veins,
Yeah.
If it stops pumping blood, it's going to collapse.
That's right.
Yeah, I get it.
Again, you don't learn anything. We don't know anything.
Trying to look at all these grumps that people have sent in now.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
This is amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
We can do like a little lightning round.
Okay. Jason from the podcast Our Cynic Culture says that his grump is people driving slowly in the fast lane.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
See, the thing is, there's a speed limit, but we all know that that's just a suggestion, right? Because the police aren't going to pull you over unless you're going like 12 miles per hour over.
Yes.
So, like, the fact that if you're going the speed limit, be in the right lane. That's what that's for.
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is frustrating. You know what? Because truckers will do this sometimes on a 2-lane road. They'll try to pass each other, but they're only going to go like a couple miles per hour difference.
Right.
And so they're blocking both lanes at like very similar to the speed limit. And you're like, I need to get around. I don't, like we're a little riskier in our car. We want to go faster.
Yeah. Because they can see you coming up behind them. So why don't you wait until all this line of traffic? Because they don't need to get there that much quicker. So they can wait for all this line of traffic to come past, get past both you and the lorry that's in front of you, And then when you've all gone past, then go round them 2 miles or 3 miles an hour faster than that lorry that you're trying to overtake. It's terrible. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because they have mirrors. They can see you coming from behind. This reminds me of, like, here in New York City, the same phenomenon happens for pedestrians. Is the tourists will all, like, span the whole width of the sidewalk and walk slowly, staring at the M&M store and things like that. And the people that actually live in New York and have to, like, walk through Times Square are like, just move. Just don't cover the whole sidewalk.
Yeah. No.
You've reminded me of an incident that happened years ago when I went to London, and because obviously I'm from Northern England, or the north of England, so I went to London. I went to go and see In Excess live, the band, and so I was getting some repair work done on an Indian instrument at an Indian music shop while I was there, and so I was using the London Underground. And because it's new to me, I was there and saying, because they've got underground trains every 30 seconds or something from one place to another. I used to say, wow, your transport system is so amazing. I can't believe how good it is. And this person just looked at me and they were sort of like rumphing me, as they call it, like that. And then one of the people that worked for the Underground actually said to me, he said, people round here don't realise how much better their transport system is than yours. He said, I'd suggest in the future you just don't mention anything about transport. He said, because wherever you go, the transport is not good enough.
Right.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Everybody grumbles about, absolutely.
And that they do that here too. They love to talk about the MTA and all that business.
Yeah, all New Yorkers love to grumble about this amazing subway system that will get you anywhere in this city, this massive metropolis.
Yes.
Like in under an hour, it'll just take you anywhere. And they love to grumble and gripe about it every time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, guys, this is a marvel of human transit right here.
Like, yes, it needs work, but it has gotten way better. It's gotten so much better over the years, for sure.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's Gil from the Mind Podcast. Today's mind culture and social podcast. And you're listening to Pods Like Us.
Anyway, what's another one?
Okay, Gil from the Mind Buds podcast, he says, when people ask him what time it is, he says, I don't know what time it is. He goes, I usually give them the wrong time on purpose so they'll never ask me again.
Amazing.
I like that.
I do too.
A wrong clock is right twice a day. So I wonder if sometimes in his attempts at giving the wrong time, every once in a while he just gives the right time on accident.
That's brilliant.
I like that. I like that idea of somebody asking you what time it is, and you don't look at a clock, you don't pull out a watch, you don't look at your cell phone, you just stare him straight in the eye and say 2:40.
Right, exactly. Right, you're like 4:45.
I want to do like a put my finger up in the air like I'm testing the direction of the wind, and then look at the sun, and then look at the shadow on the ground, and then say with the most confident air,
exactly.
It's 3:15.
It's
right,
5:53 and 12 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. I want to look up at the stars and like pull out a sextant.
Yeah.
And look at the moon.
Do you remember when you could call time? Did you ever have to call time?
Yes, the speaking clock, as we call it in the UK. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like in a sporting event.
No.
You used to be able to ring a phone number and you'd ring the phone number and it would tell you what time it is.
Yes, we did that when my mom moved to an apartment with me and my brother, and we didn't have a clock set up because it was before cell phones and all that stuff, and we would call time. Sometimes I just thought it was fun because I was a kid,
That's wonderful. Just call time.
Call time. That's a good response. Why don't you call it? What do you call it?
You got a cell phone. Why don't you call time? Call Father Time and ask him.
Alternatively, go to the thrift shop and buy one for 50 cents for a little clock.
There you go.
Who doesn't know what time it is in the age of cell phones?
Well, so I've said, what time is it? But it's usually to myself, and I'm not usually asking someone else. I'm just talking out loud.
Usually when I say what time it is, what I mean is I'm about to hype you up for something awesome.
Right.
What time is it? It's time to go outside!
I was going to be like, showtime.
It's showtime! What time is it? Law and Order!
I find...
SVU.
Yes.
Sundays at 6 p.m.
Excellent. Okay.
I don't know. I just made that up.
No, I don't know. I don't know. No. None of that. So what I think is interesting, I am excited about the new Law and Order SVU show.
For sure.
Yeah. With
Let's
Stabler.
talk about that. Let's talk about that, and then 5 minutes we'll come back to the conversation.
Okay. So what the do you know what time it is question is very fun because it reminds me of, is it raining? That question when you walk outside and you ask, is it raining? And I always think that's pretty funny when people ask that.
I do like that.
Because you can feel it, or you should have seen it before you walked out the door.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that, Marv?
Yeah, but you walk into it. You walk into a shop and you'll be soaking wet from being outside, and someone will go, "Oh, is it raining outside?"
Exactly. Yes. You are head to toe drenched.
Yes.
Head to toe drenched, and they're like, "Is it raining?"
Yeah.
You're
No,
like,
I
"Yeah."
took a shower with my clothes on.
Right. I was a never nude. Just walked right in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you walk in with like your coat in your hands and you're like breathing on your hands to warm up, and people are like, "Oh, is it cold outside?"
Yeah.
Be like, no, I just stopped at the store, picked up a few clothes, a few items, a few jackets, threw it all on, and realized, oh, it's way too hot for this.
Well, now you could actually do that on purpose, even when it's not. So you go into a shop when it's warm, and you could be just there holding your hands and blowing on them and making them think. So then they'll put a lot more layers on and go outside.
Oh my gosh.
Now
Yes.
this is the way. Yeah.
That is the way.
This is the way to do it.
This is the way.
I take your garden hose and just douse yourself with as much water as possible and walk
gosh.
inside right before somebody else is leaving, and they'll be like, "Oh, I need an umbrella," and then the whole store is going to start purchasing umbrellas.
This is a brilliant April Fool's joke
I'm
to
investing in
play
umbrellas.
on people at stores. That is really funny.
Walking, shaking off all this
it off,
water.
make a whole production of it going inside. Be like, "Oh, it's really pouring out there. Really get an umbrella right now. Better
And
get
it's
your
like-
umbrella."
And it's a Walgreens where there's like wall-to-wall windows, and everybody just looks outside. It's
And
obviously
they're staring, they're
breathtaking.
squinting, and they're like, "Is it raining? I can't see."
And then you just shout, "What time is it?"
Get out of the
Yes.
fast lane.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. All right, give us another one. I love this.
Okay. Jenna Stone from Xander and Stone podcast, she says she hates those little bits of paper that get everywhere from spiral-bound notebooks.
Oh
my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a wild one.
That's a good one.
It-
That's like glitter.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
That
the-
paper.
It's the glitter of a notebook.
Yes.
Because you had two options when I was in school. You could get the little spiral bound notebook that
Yeah.
had all those things, or you get the one where they're perforated on the side and it's like sealed together like a loose sealed paperback novel,
Yes.
and that was perforated. And those ones, it would always rip the wrong way.
Yes.
So you could either avoid the little slips of paper or get the paper that's going to ruin part of your math homework.
Yeah. And if you tear it a little too much, it like rips the whole thing. Or at least it did when I was in high school.
Now, do you remember Rolodexes?
Yeah.
Because Rolodexes used to have those little tabs at the top that's very similar to this situation.
Oh, yeah.
And those things, when they fell off, that was disastrous because it could no longer fit
couldn't-
in the Rolodex.
And then you couldn't find anyone. So, like, how are you going to... That's your contact list. That's like your cell phone right now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but I mean, because they'd all be bound nicely together on
Right.
that system or whatever, the rails.
Yes.
Like, like train track rails, but they were just a circle and it held the cards. But then that one card had that one thing. So one card was always loosely sticking out. And so you had to be careful every time you flipped through it.
you know the when you're punching holes in pieces of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Those little holes. I remember I went to work with my mom when she was a paralegal in D.C. and I was little. I was maybe like 5 or something at that time. And one of her coworkers, she was playing with me, and I was obsessed with those little round dots. So she collected all the round dots from the law firm of the hole punches to give to me to bring home. And of course, on the way home in the car, I spilled them everywhere because I'm 5. And my mom freaked out. She was like, "Now we have all these dots in the car."
Now
you know?
the interior of my car is polka dotted.
Yes.
It must have taken weeks to get rid of all those dots from the car.
I bet it took longer, Marv. I bet it took longer. I don't think she took a microwave. I think it was like me seeing how much I upset her to be like, I can pick it up. I'm
But
sure.
now, do people in school still have this problem? Because lots of people have laptops and they email documents and papers.
So that's an interesting thing now. Does paper really come into play in schools? I know for me and my learning disabilities, I love to write things down.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to physically write things down when I'm learning, as well as like typing is a different style of learning for me. So I don't know.
You know, there was a time when we were talking about moving toward a paperless society. And this was all talk. It never happened. But, you know, because of emails and computers and PDFs, it seemed like in the future we would no longer need paper.
Yeah.
But I also feel like we have just as much paper around now as we used to.
Yeah.
Everything's paper.
Well, if we take one thing away for the paper, then they send like 15 more. Like you get more credit card advertisements by mail, or like, you know, the good donation things like, you know, City Meals, they'll send you stuff in the mail to like donate, you know, like good things are sending to donate, but it's all wasting paper. It's still like wasting paper.
You know what else about those ringed binders with the paper that falls off? The binder itself, the little ring, never stays in a straight line.
Oh my gosh, it never stays, and it always unlatches.
Yeah, there'll be a couple, like it'll start to unwind off one end,
and
it'll be bent in the middle.
And you've used half the notebook. So what do you do with the rest of the pages?
So then what I used to do is try and wind it back up into place, but you'd have to keep manipulating that pop because it's flattened at the top, and so you'd have to keep manipulating that
I know.
part.
Yeah.
And, oh man,
I've done that before.
Oh, school's very boring, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what school is anymore. What's another one, Marv?
Well, that one leads nicely into one of Louisa's, actually, where she says, people dropping litter, especially when there's a bin nearby.
Oh, yes. That drives me crazy. I have literally picked up other people's trash and thrown it out in front of their faces. I've been so angry about it. Those are my Karen moments about the environment. Literally, there's a trash can on the corner. This guy's standing outside of the bodega, and he throws his cigarette carton down, like in the pathway of people walking. And I looked at him, as I was picking it up, and I shook it in my hand, like a total, like, you know, making my point. And I said, do you want me to throw this away over here? And he was like, oh, sorry. And I was like, it's just, you know, trash can. It's our neighborhood. That's all. It's just our neighborhood. It's fine.
What gets my goat about the littering is the things that society has decided is not even littering. Like cigarette butts.
Oh my gosh,
it's just common for everybody to just flick their cigarette. And I'm like, that's litter. You're throwing garbage on the ground. You can't do that. Why is that okay? But everybody seems fine, or not everybody, but the smokers who smoke, they seem fine with just flicking their cigarettes everywhere. And it's madness to me. Yeah. The things that we've agreed are like, don't count as litter. And I'm like, it's just litter. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh man, that's infuriating.
Yeah, totally. That really drives me nuts. I had, even on the subway, I had some kids that were throwing, it was like a tinfoil, threw some tinfoil on the ground. And I was so mad. I think I picked up, I can't remember what I said to these kids, but I said something. Anyway.
Good.
I don't know.
you know what? It's already unnerving enough how much of nature we've paved over.
Yeah.
Like, we as a society have, like, paved... And that's another version of littering right there. You know, do we need this many parking lots?
Yeah.
Do we need this many roads? Do we need this large of a system where it's like...
Where are the deer gonna go?
And so much shopping is done online now that it's so frustrating to look at all the space we've given to shopping malls and parking lots. And you're like, we can do all of this online. We don't need...
And we can use that space for something else.
That could have been a park.
There could be
children playing soccer there. There could be bird watching there. But instead, we put a parking lot.
Yeah, it could be youth centers. It could be, like, theaters. It could be so many different things.
Yeah, like, we don't even consider cement littering, but I do. And we put it everywhere. And I'm just stop paving over nature.
Yeah, that really does get our goat. The recycling thing really gets me. The thing I also don't like is the open face trash cans. I like having trash cans on the corners because then you can put it, if you have something, you know, sometimes I put it in my bag if I can. Of course, I will not litter because it drives me nuts. But I will put it in the trash can on the corner. However, if there is no lid, the wind picks it out of the trash can and blows it all over the city. So there are, you know, there was a point in I've lived in this neighborhood for quite some time, and there was a point where I got so excited because I was like, we've got fancy trash cans now. We have the trash can that has a little bit of a cover. This is perfect. Yeah. You know?
Because in Midtown, they have the nice solar powered ones that are like a mini trash compactor that like actually has a pull down bar. It's like a bear-proof sort of bar. You pull it down, put the trash in, and then it has a solar-powered trash compactor right there. Yeah. That's wonderful. But short of that, now we have the ones that just have like a little flying saucer over the top. Right. So it's still open air, but like a little bit protected.
But at least it won't blow everywhere until, you know, then it overflows because people, you know, they don't change the trash.
No, I just use the blue trash cans on the corner.
What blue?
The one with the pull-down bar, and you put the trash in.
Oh, yeah, when you can find them.
And it says USPS on the side.
No, Bob. What are you talking about? You can't use the post office for a trash can. No, it's where letters go. I would be so mad if someone put a soda. Oh, you can't do that anymore. They've actually adjusted. The letter.
Mail slot.
Yeah, the mail slot.
Yeah.
Ew, could you imagine though if someone put a soda in a mail slot?
This is New York City. I think that happened a lot. I think that's why they changed.
Oh my gosh, you're totally right. You're totally right. That's crazy. Yeah, people are idiots. Oh my gosh. But the thing is, Marv, with the solar panel trash cans, since they are in Midtown, they're usually really gross. So you can't like observe them in their marvel of solar panel combustibleness.
Yeah, they're sticky with trash on the top and all around.
Disgusting looking that you think it's a trash can with the handle.
Yeah, there's some sort of dried sticky substance on the top that's blocking the solar panels from the sun. Like, yeah, they got gross over time.
We tried.
We tried. There was an effort to beautify the city, and the city did what the city does best.
Yes.
Absorbed it into the mold of festering humanity that it is.
Yes, the plague.
And I'm going to segue your comment just now into another gripe from I told you that Sam wrote in a lot of...
Amazing!
Sam, thanks for all the input.
Scott. And he said,
yes.
So I'm guessing that those solar-powered bins will not work sometimes because of a gripe that he has, which is people sticking chewing gum all over the place.
Oh my gosh. Well, you've just cracked Grumble Goat episode 1.
Yes.
Our first episode was about gum, and I have already mentioned that I despise gum, and not even just people sticking it everywhere. I hate the chompy, chewy smackiness of gum in people's mouths. I hate it everywhere. But yes, who decided it was fine to stick it on the underside of a table before you eat?
Yeah.
Where did that habit come from? Like, I get maybe a 5-year-old child did that once and was like, okay, here's a convenient place to put it. But then somehow that idea spread to the world? What
But
is
that's
this
a-
madness?
That's a malicious idea because if a 5-year-old was doing it, they'd put it on top of the table. Okay. Someone who doesn't want you to know it's there puts it on the underside. They're like, oh, I'm sneaky gum.
Gum is another
Throw it
thing that
away.
people just throw on the sidewalk. They're just,
Yeah.
I'm done with this now, and just hawk it right onto the sidewalk. And then now it's on our shoe, and
Yeah.
we're stuck to the sidewalk, and we're
Yeah.
trying to walk, but the bottom of our sole keeps you
Yeah.
as you're trying
Yes.
to walk, and it's maddening.
And also, how rude to put glue. How rude to put gum on a solar panel. Like
Yeah.
that is just that is like disrespectful.
That's a middle finger
Yes.
to Mother Nature.
To
is
Mother
what that
Nature,
is.
yeah. I'd be like,
It is.
Yeah, you're like,
Rubber.
not only am I littering, but I'm blocking the one thing that's trying to prevent global warming from
Yeah.
doing its job by blocking the sun
Yeah.
simultaneously.
yeah. Oh.
Oof.
Oh.
Yeah, that's no good. Gum. Why do
Gum.
people chew gum? I mean, it's the most anticlimactic food you can think of. You put it in your mouth and it immediately loses its flavor, and all you're doing is smacking the
Here you
rubber
go.
ball in your mouth. Ugh. Gum is just awful. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
I don't know.
Find something to eat. Why does your mouth have to move
I
like
mean,
that? It's
well-
not satisfying.
With the masks, I have noticed I do enjoy chewing a little bit of gum when I have my mask on. Because I'm at work for a significant amount of time.
Well, that's not because that way, if you try and spit it out, it just ends up right back in your mouth.
Oh.
You know? Yeah. No, you like it because you don't like the smell of your breath.
Yeah. And I want to work on the secret plaque. Yeah.
For more on the secret plaque, tune in to Grumble Goat episode 1.
We have improved the sound since that episode.
Yes.
We were still learning.
Yeah, we were still learning the ins and out of recording sound.
Yes.
Which is more complicated than you think it is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
G'day, g'day. This is Matty C from the Astros Fantasy Football Podcast, way down in Australia. And we love getting to listen to Marv meet new podcasters from all over the world here on the Pods Like Us podcast.
I will say that that is my, shall we say, gross out moment in the film Elf. The gum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What happened in the gum? I don't remember the gum part of Elf.
I'll let you tell it.
Marv?
So it's almost at the beginning of when he first goes to New York before he's actually gone to the Empire State Building to go and see James Caan, and is actually at the subway picking the gum from underneath the rails and eating the gum from the rails.
Yes.
That's like a whole montage of the
And I'm looking
sugar.
at that, and that bit just makes me, oh, that's terrible. Why would you even want to make a joke out of that? It's
Oh, I
gross.
love that.
It's awful.
That's like in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when he's like, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries, and then licking the wallpaper.
Right.
Yes.
I just, the sidewalks are made out of candy in New York City. Just grabbing gum and eating it.
Yes. Oh, Will Ferrell's so funny to me. I think he is
man.
so funny. I just watched him in, we just watched him in Eurovision. We watched that not too long ago. I thought that was so funny. It was the Icelandic.
Go on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was very funny. Yeah, the Icelandic musician one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
So, what have we got next? Oh. Yep, Stone from Xander and Stone again. She says she hates when people don't say words correctly. Like, she said a lot of people
Oh my gosh.
with her use the word supposedly instead of supposedly, and library instead of library.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is so grating to me. I
Yes.
hate when people say the word espresso.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yes.
espresso with it.
Instead of espresso.
It's like they're making an incidental double entendre, but it's just so.
But they're
irking to me.
not. Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
saying it wrong.
Or when somebody says especially.
Yeah. Oh, especially. Oh, yeah. That. Or my big one is exactly. If someone says exactly,
It like really grinds my ears.
Which is weird because that's the correct pronunciation.
No, it's not. You
Exactly.
should say exactly. It's exactly.
Right,
How do you say exactly? Yeah, exactly.
Well, he just punched the T.
No, but he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't
all right.
say exactly.
Oh, so you're allowed to have a T. You just
Yes.
can't. You just
can't say
You can't.
act.
You can't really chew on that T.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't elongate the T. That's it.
Yeah. And that's also like,
Exactly.
yes. Like
And-
that ah sound is also like just hard on the ears.
Let me throw another one at you. Irregardless.
Oh, irregardless.
I hate
Yes.
irregardless. People mean to say regardless, and then they add an extra syllable because they want to sound smart. So they say irregardless. But irregardless, if you follow that train, actually means specifically regarding. And we already have a word for that. It's called regarding. So if it's regarding, you don't need to say irregardless. You can say regarding.
Yeah, it's like when people use double negatives as well. I'm trying to think now but that irritates the hell out of me as well.
Yes. People have this strange habit sometimes of asking a question in the negative and then
totally.
expecting your answer to relate to as if they asked the question in the positive.
Yes. You have that problem when you go to like Dunkin' Donuts or something.
Like
You go,
I'll say, "Can I get a coffee with a cream?" and they'll say no sugar. And that's their question, no sugar. And when I say yes, they add sugar, thinking that I'm saying yes to sugar, not yes to no sugar.
Right.
So then I have to spell it out for them. I have to say yes, no sugar.
right. You have to
Yeah.
complete the sentence.
Yeah.
You can't just respond.
And then, people will ask questions with words like aren't, which is negative, like aren't you hungry or aren't you cold?
yeah.
And they'll expect you to answer like yes, as in yes, I'm cold, as opposed to yes, I'm not cold.
Yes.
It's just the way people use negatives, and these are colloquial habits. And I know that it's not like a person making a mistake. It's how we phrase things. But it irks me. My brain tries to wrap around these negatives, and I'm like, it does not compute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, because me and my sister argue about this all the time. My sister is a linguistic anthropologist, and so
Okay.
she studies the way cultures use language, and I studied theater and performance, and I studied Shakespeare and like enunciation and diction, and so I feel that there are rules to grammar and rules to the English language that have to be followed. And she's like, no, as long as communication is happening, that's successful language. So we argue about this all the time. She'll be like, just because somebody asks a question in the negative, how the message was received is more important than whether it was worded correctly. And so like we can't agree on this.
Yeah, it's like you're stressing the efficiency of the language, and she's saying, no, it's still successful because of how it was received. But you're like, but they could have said it in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be like, they should have said it better. And she'll be like, irregardless.
Oh my
You
God.
understood what they meant.
But is irregardless an actual word in
No.
the dictionary? Are we
No.
sure about that?
No,
it's
of course it's not a word.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mean anything. It's gibberish.
I don't know. Mariah Carey has a song called Irregardless, and she sings it beautifully. She goes,
Great.
Irregardless. No, it doesn't sound like that. It's something else. I started and I was like, nope, that's not how that sounds. Anyway, I do like the song. But once you told me it wasn't a word, it really messed up me listening to it.
But then
Oh.
again, there are
Yeah.
lots of songs where they use words that don't exist. I mean, Mary Poppins,
Yes.
for instance. Is it that one, or is it, which one is
Yeah,
it?
supercalifragilistic. Yeah, expialidocious, even though, wait. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. Do you know the words? Yeah, okay.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
It's like,
There you
you're
go.
gonna let me do this by myself?
That was wonderful. No, I don't think that word's in the dictionary either.
No. But speaking of people singing songs, when I was in choir practice in like 6th grade, my choir teacher brought this to my attention when he said, it's called you, not chew. So many people sing these songs and they're like, I love you.
What?
Yes, it's not you. They say it's not I love you. They say chew. I don't know if it's a way to like make the vowel sound different or like whatever, but there's so many songs that they say chew and not you.
Chew.
Oh, chew. Like chew.
You got what I need.
Yes, exactly. See, I said it exactly. Not exactly. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
You'll notice it now. Now, when you like hear it, then you'll be like, "Oh, they said chew."
You know, as somebody that works in the service industry, I have a habit that I feel offends people, and I don't mean it this way, but I pronounce the word either as either, whereas most people around pronounce it either.
Yeah.
So as a server, if I say, "Oh, would you like the fish or chicken?" and somebody says to me, "Neither," I want to repeat to them and verify that I heard them correctly, and I'll say neither, and they think that I'm correcting their grammar.
Oh,
and so then
weird.
they say with a really weird expression, neither. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't.
I don't know. That's a weird
trying to correct you.
response, though. That's still a weird response to say neither. Like, are you sure you don't want any of the chicken? Do you want beef instead?
That was just a random example off the top of my head.
Right.
But it'd be more like, oh, I'll take a cup of coffee. Okay, do you want cream or sugar?
Yeah.
Neither. These sorts of things.
Sure.
Anyway, I don't know. This might be too difficult to explain.
That's like aunt and aunt. Do you say aunt? I say aunt. Do you say aunt?
I'd say aunt. We're talking about the bugs?
No, we're talking about your uncles and aunts.
No, you know, one time, speaking of my aunts, I remember this time when I said the word vase.
Right.
But they said vase.
Yeah, you say vase.
And I said vase. And I don't know why. I was like 9 years old. I don't know why I was saying vase. Maybe I just heard it for the first time. But then my aunts were all just like making fun of me. Just,
Oh my gosh.
oh, Matt got a new vase. Oh, Matt, put the vase over there.
Well,
And
Yes, I guess
earlier, that's like you say tomato and I say tomato.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
George Gershwin.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic.
You say potato and I say potato.
You
Potato. Wait, just a quick aside. One time I did see somebody audition with that song.
Oh my
but
gosh.
they didn't know the show.
What?
And apparently they just, I don't know, they must have just read the lyrics.
Oh,
and
people
they
are
sang
so
it
stupid.
like, I say tomato and you say tomato, 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 tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so mortifying for them. Oh, everyone behind the table knew it, and they were just waiting for them to leave to laugh. Oh, that's awful.
Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
Always read the play. Hello.
I'm sorry, you've got Louise is crying with laughter.
That's great.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's madness. Yeah, pronouncing things incorrectly.
Yes. We touched when we recorded the February episode. We did touch on some of that stuff, but you know, when we record, we talk for a longer period of time, and then you know, Matt ferociously cuts for comedy and of the fun things that we say. But yes, that's definitely.
Speaking of pronouncing things incorrectly, I'm going to nerd out on you guys real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a Star Trek movie. It was one of the later ones with the Next Generation cast.
Okay.
Where I don't remember which.
J.J. Abrams cast?
No.
Oh, okay.
What? No, the Next Generation cast. You know,
right.
Captain Jean-Luc
Yes,
Picard
yes,
and all.
John
and
Stewart.
It was
right?
about
Yeah.
the Borg. I don't remember the title of the film, but it was one of the
Patrick
later
Stewart.
Star Trek. What?
Sorry, I had to get there. Okay, I'm ready.
And the Borg got
Scotty.
my brain is
The
malfunctioning.
Borg.
Data.
Thank you.
Data,
The Borg got Data, and so Data was now part of the Borg collective.
Oh.
And he says to, I forget who he says it to, but he says resistance is futile. And
Yes.
I, being a Star Trek fan, was sitting there being like, that's not how the Borg say it. They say resistance is futile.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yes,
what
they
I
do.
thought.
And so it turned out that Data was lying. He was playing the part.
Oh my gosh, he was a double agent.
Dun, dun, dun. on.
But
Yeah.
didn't
Even I picked up
didn't
on that.
Picard pick up on that in the film, and that's how he knew that Data was not taken over by the Borg?
Malfunctioning.
Here I was trying to nerd out on you, and you know the film better than I do.
I'm sorry.
I mean, yes. Yes, I would
dear.
guess. He's a smarty. He's a smarty, and I even picked up on it right now when you said it. I was like, "That's not how they say it."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I failed, guys. I was trying to. Anyway, speaking of mispronouncing things, that worked in the conversation.
Oh, totally. I mispronounce words all the time.
That's also why I've already had 2 Star Trek related shows as guests before as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, Star Trek.
All right. I don't know. Do you have any more grumbles for us? What are we?
There are so many grumbles.
Oh, of course there are.
Another one from Sam is unnecessary love stories in an action film.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now, hang on. We need some humanity, don't we?
Well, it depends on what kind.
Like, just because the giant dinosaur is fighting the giant robot doesn't mean I need a little human connection every once in a while.
Yes. I agree with him. In one of the Avengers movie, they gave the Hulk, right? No, not the Hulk, right? No. Yeah, the Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk.
The
Yeah,
Hulk
big guy. Yeah.
and Scarlett Johansson's character.
Yeah.
A love story. They were like in love with each other in a movie.
Yeah.
And that was out of left field to me. I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Like, she's like a badass, like Russian, like spy turned Avenger thing. And he's like a green giant that smashes things.
Yeah, but
like
he's built.
super smart doctor, you know.
I mean, you see it, right?
No,
It's a
it didn't make
good-looking
any
giant
sense.
green
It was
monster.
like totally out of left field that they were in a relationship. And I was like, did I miss something from the first movie?
I mean, what do you think he means when he says Hulk smash?
And it was like, and it's like they were having, it's like she was the, and she like had to bring, like that was the whole thing. Like she brought him back to, I don't know. So yeah, it unnecessarily well, and also actually for a women protagonist in the Star Wars series, in the superheroes, like why does a woman need a love story to make her interesting? Like Wonder Woman. I was so excited about Wonder Woman and the sequel to come back out, and I love Chris Pine. Okay, I want Chris Pine in the movie just as much as you do, but he didn't need to be there. You know?
It was very strange to make the first half of the movie just justifying Chris Pine being in the movie.
Yeah.
Because he had died 80 years previous to the movie.
Yes.
Like, I mean, the character, not the actor.
But like Wonder Woman is supposed to be so strong. Why did we to show a weakness within her? Why does it have to be a relationship? Why does it have to be a romantic thing? Why can't it be something else?
Yeah, she just couldn't let go of the love of her life that she let go of 80 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly has been running like in the
It was just
history
so
museum or
mad
something.
that movie was like. They jumped through so many hoops just to get like just the logic
hour.
of the movie made no sense just to justify Chris Pine being in the movie.
An hour into the movie, we find out who the villain maybe be, and is like what the plot is going to maybe be. An hour in.
No, I agree that sometimes love stories are jammed into what should be an action story or what should be a story that's not focused on romance or whatever. But I also argue that in some of these action films, they try and jam plot in there when all they really want to do is show a giant monkey fighting a giant Godzilla, like a giant dinosaur, Like, it's okay if that's all the movie is. Like, I'll watch an hour and a half of 2 giant monsters fighting each other. I'm cool with that.
I don't know. I think I want substance. I really need to know what Godzilla's motivation was.
Well, in this movie, you didn't watch it with me, but in this movie, there was a deaf little girl that taught him sign language.
Oh, that's right.
So
You told me that.
That was his motivation.
Oh, it's like a Congo moment.
Sorry, that's a spoiler moment for anybody that's about to watch Godzilla vs. King Kong. Is that even the title of the film?
I don't know.
I might have got it backwards.
I think he just had a stomach ache and was like, I'm grumpy. Let's have a fight. Hangry. But what's another one, Marv?
Another one that Sam gave to me, which was not thanking coach drivers or people like taxi drivers or anybody either, and just getting out without saying anything or acknowledging that they're doing a job that's important or anything.
Now, when it comes to a taxi driver, it's like that's a one-on-one situation. Mm-hmm. That you should definitely be saying thank you, because you're directly interacting with that person. Yeah. Now, a bus driver, on the other hand, I love thanking a bus driver for the ride.
I do too,
because they're not expecting that.
No,
they're not expecting that, and so you come at them with a thanks for the ride, and they're like, yeah. That made my day.
Yeah, they do get excited about that.
They're just like anybody else on the road, they're zoning out a little bit. They're just grinding through the minutes of the day, and they get a little thank you, and they're like, yeah, oh, that's right. I'm doing favors for people.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I like to thank the MTA workers that are cleaning the subway.
Absolutely.
I always thank them, and I don't get necessarily the best response back, but I think they did appreciate that I said thank you. It's just like, yeah. Like some are like, meh. And some are like, thank you. Yeah, have a nice day,
Yeah.
But yes, thankless jobs like picking up the roadkill off the road, the side of the road. That is a thankless job.
Well, yeah, but that's like free groceries for the week.
What?
It's like, what's for dinner? But don't worry, I brought something home.
Oh my gosh, it's like a dead raccoon or something.
I was just thinking raccoon as well. I don't know why.
Amazing.
Raccoon and fries. Yeah, raccoon and fries.
Raccoon and fries. Oh, wonderful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Dirty Jobs. That was like a reality TV show for a while.
Yeah,
Over
Dirty
here
Jobs,
was Dirty Jobs. So he would go around basically all the thankless jobs that people have to do. You have to get done.
Yeah.
And every time I see like roadkill on the side of the road, I'm like, oh, they didn't do it yet. They didn't go around and pick up all the dead animals.
I saw a picture on the internet of it was titled "Not My Job." And it was a picture of a road that the guy was going down, painting the line down the middle of the road, and he had painted right over a dead raccoon.
Oh no!
Dear me.
It's not my job. He just kept painting down the middle of the road.
Oh my god! He's like, my boundaries are not picking up dead animals off the road. Wow.
Wouldn't you feel bad running that machine over the dead raccoon?
Yeah, he like double deaded him.
Double deaded.
Yeah.
Double dead.
Double dead.
Yeah, that's like
double down on
move.
his kill. Yeah.
Yeah. Finish him.
Knockout. Sorry. We have fun in our house.
Hey there, this is Bobby with the Rock Guys Podcast, and you are listening to Marv Smooth on the Pods Like Us podcast. Check him out.
Adam and Craig. Oh, so Adam from Adam and Craig's Guilty Pleasure Cinema, he says that his co-host, Craig, has a hatred for snow globes.
Oh,
I hate you for snow globes.
Yeah, he really despises snow globes, but he doesn't know. His colleague Adam doesn't know why.
That's really strange. Does he feel like the people in those little villages are trapped in there?
Oh my god!
Like it's always cold there. What a sad world when it's always cold.
Is it always cold, or is it just glitter?
Now, the snow globe, I'm picturing the snow globe, and this is, I think, the world's first GIF. An animated picture. It's like the world's first GIF. Yeah, you just have to shake it a little bit, and then it's snowing. Yeah, I've always liked snow globes. I think they're great. I mean, it gives you 8 seconds of entertainment. What's to not like?
Well, that's the thing. I also love snow globes because I like that. But then I get a little sad when it's not moving. So when the snow when it does stop snowing, I get a little sad.
Yeah. You know, we're trained that way from a young age. We're trained to love snow days. We get off school. If it keeps snowing, if it snows too much, we can take the sled down the hill.
Right.
Like, we're trained to love excessive snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least we were when we were kids.
You know what you need to do is get like one of those paint can shakers and put your snow globe in there, and then you have endless snow. It's like a blizzard in there.
What are you talking about?
The paint can shaker.
In the snow globe?
No, put the snow globe in the paint can shaker.
Like that, like the snow globe is the top of the paint can shaker. Are you talking about a paint can? I don't understand what we're talking about. A paint can
you know
shaker.
when you go to Home Depot and you
Yeah.
ask for a certain color, and they
Yeah.
put the dye in the paint,
Yeah.
and then they close the lid,
Yeah.
and then they put it in a...
A shaker. But they don't really shake it. They like stir it.
No, it's a...
Oh, okay.
It's like a really old washing machine that's off balance, or drying machine that's off balance, you know?
I feel like-
that, and it'll endless snow.
Yeah, but then it like moves, and then that's like a little sexy.
Why is it
Like
that
a moving snow globe is a little sexy.
a moving snow globe?
Yes.
One that's experiencing
Yes.
like a 9 on the Richter scale earthquake.
Yes, when it's like you're like, that's giving someone pleasure.
Wait, here's what I don't understand. You get a snow globe that's like a little bit older, and it's got that bubble at the top.
I know. They
Where's
also
the
have a bubble though.
Where does that bubble come from?
No, they need a bubble. You need a little air in
No,
there.
but
I
like
think.
the older it gets, like the bigger the bubble grows. And it's
Oh,
like,
do you think the
where's-
water disintegrates?
But where? How? It just like they're a
Evaporates,
mini
it
black hole.
evaporates.
But if it's a sealed system, right?
Do you think it's leaking? It's
No.
not leaking.
I don't think it's leaking.
It has to evaporate. What kind of water do you put in one of those things?
Distilled water.
No, it has to be some kind
Do you
of.
think it's vodka?
I don't know, Marv. Do you know?
I want
Do you
it
know
to be,
what
I want
liquid
it to
they
be
put in a
vodka
snow
now, so I
globe?
can just smash the things open and get a drink.
Yeah. No, I mean because it's like it's all preserved, right? Like you don't see any seaweed growing in there. There's
No, that you're right. It doesn't. It's not green. It doesn't turn green.
Yeah, there's no algae.
They
So
have to put something in there.
maybe it's just rubbing alcohol.
No, but then it would evaporate if it's alcohol.
But it's a sealed system. How's it evaporating?
I don't know.
Can't
What do they
evaporate,
use as
'cause there's
snow?
no
Is
air
it
for it to
styrofoam?
evaporate into.
Oh.
You're telling me that it's not snow that's in the globe?
No, you know there's no snow in the globe. It's not snow.
What do you think it is?
It
Oh,
can't.
you know what it is?
Good.
It's those little pieces of paper that come off the notebook paper.
That is, it's
Yes.
a little piece. No, and then it get mushy.
That's where they all go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Go to the snow globe manufacturer.
That's why you make a
Interesting.
career
That's
out of
so
comedy,
weird.
Matt.
That's so fascinating. I want this person who I don't know that has a hatred of snow globes to be like the little boy in a Christmas movie that like something happened to his snow globe and now
Yeah,
he
that's
like can't look at a snow globe ever again. I'm so curious
That's
about
a really strong character choice.
the story behind the
This
hatred
person
of this.
hates snow globes.
Right,
It's
like,
what
what
PTSD
happened?
did they suffer that the
I
snow
know.
globe?
Did one of their parents give them this snow globe, and then the other parent was jealous of the other parent, and so they shipped the snow globe away, and the child never saw the snow globe anymore?
Maybe at some point they had a hamster that was in a hamster wheel.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't like where this is going. Okay. Yes.
And I don't know. They put this. I
You put it in the snow globe. I know where you were going with the hamster. You were gonna murder it with that liquid in there. He only has a little bubble to breathe.
Yeah. No. Yeah. What a strange character choice to hate
Interesting.
snow globes.
Snow globes.
Like it's like when you're meeting a new group of people and they're like, oh, let's go
Yeah.
around the circle and say an interesting thing about everybody.
Yeah.
And it got to him and he had no idea what to say, so he just like looked around the room and was like, I hate snow globes.
Snow globe. There is a Christmas movie with Christina Milian, and it is called Snow Globe, and it is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Just because it's a silly Christmas movie, you know.
Yeah. What did they use for snow in that movie?
sheets of plastic, maybe. I have no idea. I have no
Microplastics.
idea. Oh,
Yeah.
microplastics.
They used microplastics.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, they probably use all those things,
Yeah.
huh?
And now I guess microplastics are in our DNA. Is that what's
That's
happening?
what I hear.
We're
I
all
hear
a little
it.
synthetic now.
I feel like we've always been a little synthetic in the modern age. But that brings me to my question of how this person feels about trinkets. Because a snow globe is like a trinket, like a magnet that you buy on vacation.
Yeah, I wonder if
you
they
know?
have like a glass menagerie.
Yes. Well, they clearly they don't because they don't like them. But yes.
But like they like to them, putting something inside glass is sacrilege. The figure itself should be just formed out of glass.
Yes. What is it?
Maybe they only like maracas. And so, like, the maracas you shake and it makes sound. And so he's shaking these snow globes, being like, it's not doing the rhythmic sound.
Oh, they do shake a little. Yeah. I mean, if you'd shake them. Yeah. They do make that sound.
No, that's the maracas.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a snow globe.
What kind of snow globes make noise?
Snow globes can make noise.
The ones you wind at the bottom.
Well, that's a music.
Yeah.
Well, that's a music. I don't know why
What do
I
you
said
think
it like that.
maracas are?
Well, no, that is music, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know, I think you can make music from anything.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got to be creative.
Okay. Let's make music from gum we find on the streets.
I think you could make music from the initial response that you have when you see gum on the street. Then you could make a whole song out of that.
There's a show I did in college called All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten.
Okay.
Which is a great lesson for somebody that's paying for college to learn. But it's called All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten.
Sure.
And they have a song that's called, it's called like Oops or something like that. But
Okay.
it's all just noises we make put to music. So
Oh,
it's
how
like,
about that?
oops, uh-huh, and those noises on repeat. And so you have a chorus of people singing these like just random noises we make in conversation. And it's a cute song.
How about that?
Yeah.
What do you think the people inside the snow globe are talking about?
Snowed out today?
Is it snowing? Is
Yep.
it snowing?
Is it snowing out there, Tom?
Is it
I'm
raining
gonna
out
kill
there?
you, Jim. I'm gonna kill you. One of these days, Jim.
Why, yeah. Snow globe. So I'm very curious about this person now. Doesn't like snow globes.
I wonder if like every day for them is like tomorrow's Christmas,
I know.
and then
Tragic.
But then it never
Never.
comes Christmas. They're
It's
just
never
always
Christmas.
preparing for Christmas.
Yes. Yes. How do you feel about snow globes?
I think they're great. I think they're fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right? They always bring
Like
a little
an old-fashioned
joy.
version of what was that streaming service that lasted for about three or 4 months, and then the COVID happened and it went down under because people weren't bothered about watching 60-second films. What was that?
Oh yes. What was that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was called. I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, that was very short-lived.
Yes, yeah. Because the idea was that it was for people to watch little short films because they didn't have the time because of work. And then when it started, basically within a week or two of it starting the service, COVID happened and everybody went into lockdown. And everybody had too much time to watch short videos, so it went out of service.
All of a sudden, there were time for full-length movies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild.
Exactly. No,
it's weird
totally.
that we simultaneously have time to binge watch Netflix shows and at the same time have no time because we're constantly busy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's interesting because and so many people when they commute, that's when they listen to podcasts. It's kind of fascinating that when people stop commuting, people stop listening to podcasts too.
Or maybe they just don't like us.
Or maybe they didn't like us. But no, I mean, it's just it's fascinating.
Who hasn't got 15, 16 minutes in a day to listen to your podcast?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. We definitely have a short format.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love because there's several podcasts I listen to that are like 20 minutes that I'm like, I love that. I love getting in and out, having like a story, having, felt something, learned something, and then out. And so when we were starting Grumble Goat, I was like, I want it to be quick. I want it to be funny. I want it to be a topic everybody can laugh about, and then just go right to the next.
Yeah.
Like just quick format. I love that format.
And we've definitely gotten a lot of feedback from that, and that's one of the things that people really like about it, is that it is shorter.
Which this episode won't
That's good. No, but this is a different kind of podcast,
It is.
which is so great.
Thank you very much. So, Matt has segued wonderfully there, explaining about your show. So, how do you record the show, and then how do you edit the show?
We record the show at my computer when it's just the two of us.
Yep.
We have two microphones and we sit as far apart as possible, but we turn on the lamps and make the room nice and dim, and
We set the scene.
Yeah, we set the scene, and we try and make it nice and intimate, even though we try and sit as far apart as possible, and just have an intimate conversation where we, just learn about what each other feels about this topic. First it starts with whoever's doing the grumble, usually me, recording by themselves for a few minutes, and then we come together and then we grumble about it. And the topic is a secret, but then it comes out in the conversation, and we get to the bottom of that. And we usually record for maybe 45 minutes, and then the show is pretty heavily edited. So any explanatory stuff, like if we're like explaining the way something works or the plot of a show, I edit that right out. We don't want any information in the show. We just want the meandering topics. We like the comedy. So I edit it down to 15 minutes because, like I said, I love the format. So every episode's about 16 minutes. But I love that short format. I love just hit the joke and get out. So we do edit away when we linger too long on a topic or get too explainy rather than jokey about it. So I do take those moments out just to keep it nice and lighthearted for the audience.
Yeah.
Because I want people to listen and follow the train of thought and get lost with us on a topic. So I cut out a lot of that.
Yes. It usually takes you a couple days to edit because you like to sit with it for a day or two.
Yeah, I'll do the initial edits about information, and then the next day I'll come back to it and edit the tight edits that make it seem sharper than our conversation actually is.
Right. Yes.
But it sounds like you're just basically just talking freely, and there's no structure to the discussion or anything. It's just whatever is said there at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a phrase that I tell our guests. I say, follow the white rabbit. So Veronique often makes connections to things that a rational person normally wouldn't. And so she'll just say the most non sequitur thing. And I always tell my guests, forget whatever argument you were making and just ask her about that and just follow that white rabbit. Always go with the conversation rather than trying to keep the conversation on topic, because we like that meandering randomness to it.
Yes, and I think, in the beginning when we were coming up with the concept and also feeling out the flavor and the color of our episodes and, our podcast, it took us a minute to kind of get the dynamic. Like, yes, we are together and, we have a lovely dynamic between the two of us, but on a professional level, it is a performance, and both of us are performers and actors, and we've had a significant amount of training. So it's an open conversation, but it is an improv conversation, and it is very active when we're talking to each other. So, we may have an occasional margarita while we're talking, but it is very, very active, and it's up, A couple times during the quarantine, I got a little relaxed because I was, it was quarantine and it was crazy. People were dying, and Matt had to remind me. It's like, it is a performance. Like, no, we're doing this.
Yeah,
and
sit up, no lounging down.
Yeah, no lounging.
No petting with the cat. No petting the cat in your lap.
Yes,
no, none of that. No, we're sitting up.
The cat likes to come and hang out.
We do start our recording sessions with warm-up games.
Yes, we always have warm-ups.
Yeah, we do improv warm-ups to warm up our brain and get our energy up and get our focus up and get our listening and reactions up. Yeah, so we start with improv games because it's a performance for us. Yeah,
absolutely. And so many things happen to us throughout the day that we don't want to bring our day into the work. We want the work to speak for itself. And that's how we're able to do that.
Well, I think you do a great job. It comes across very well.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, and it's fun because, some episodes, it's interesting. The episodes that we don't think are going to really punch come out to be these little beautiful gems.
Our latest episode... we had a busy week this week.
Yeah.
She had full time at work, and I was expecting bad side effects from the vaccine, and I had surgery, and it was just a tough week. So we had to cram in an episode, and I was like, I wasn't worried about it. I was like, all right, well, it might be a blow off episode, and it's called National Day Calendar, and Veronique grumbles about all the random holidays, like with National Grilled Cheese Day. National Tuesday Appreciation Wednesday. And
right.
All sorts of random holidays we have in our calendar that just make the calendar chock full. And it ended up just being one of our favorite episodes. It's so delightful.
I was listening to it and I was like, you know what? This is a gem. Like, how silly is this? At one point I just start listing. And in the grumble, so I was laughing when Matt came in to check on me. It'd been 10 minutes and he's like, Are you ready? You got it? I was like, yeah, I think I got it, And then he comes in, I'm just smiling at him, and I'm thinking to myself, he's either going to love me after this or hate me after listening to what I just did in this microphone. I was like, and the bets are on. And it turned out well. He liked it. He liked what I did, but it was just really funny.
I loved that episode. I was walking around around the supermarket listening to that episode, and I just thought, you're right, there's a day for absolutely everything, and I was thinking, what you were saying about National Siblings Day, I thought, haven't they got birthdays? I already sent them cards for the birthdays. Why do they need another day?
Oh, it's wonderful.
That's an awesome point. Yes, that is a beautiful point.
Yeah.
They have birthdays.
Yeah. So I mean, Grumble Goat is it's it's about grumbling and it's about grievances, but it's also it's just a joy, and it's so much fun that even when we're strapped for time, we're like, let's just sit down and do a quick episode. That's the joy of it. That's why we started doing it. That's those moments, those conversations are part of our relationship.
Absolutely.
It's just wonderful.
And it was also a way to stay creative. Like I said, we are performers, and there are times where you don't have a gig, right? You audition, you book something, but then there are times that you don't. And what can we do as entertainers and artists to fuel that passion within us, to keep us auditioning, to keep us going after these things and working the muscle? Because if you don't work the muscle, it fades away, just like, your body. If you don't go on walks or go to the gym, it's the same exact thing. So
Absolutely.
This was a really, really beautiful thing. And through this podcast, I mean, I found a lot of, confidence in, my personality and, just my silly perspective on things. And it's been really wonderful. It's really, really been wonderful. So I'm really happy that you have been listening and you've been enjoying the show, as well as other people have been reaching out and have also, told us how much they enjoyed it. Or my favorite is that they comment on something very specific about the episode, and they have a very, specific point about something that we said. And it's wonderful. It brings people together. I'm so excited to have more guests on the show because, I don't want you just to hear from us and our perspective on things. I want all voices, I want all silly grievances to be out there, and then we can learn something from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. when those guests come out with things, you'll suddenly think to yourself, yes, why are these things the way that they are?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one. I mean, yeah, everybody has something to grumble about. I love getting text messages or Instagram messages of people that have just listened to an episode and be like, "Yeah, I love, I never thought of it that way," or "I hate it for this reason."
Right.
Or like you just said, the siblings already have birthdays, and then I'm like kicking myself, like, why didn't I? That's the funniest line. Why didn't I say that in the episode?
Right. I had a coworker come up to me. He listens pretty regularly. And it was when we did 10,000 steps, and it was a little earlier on in the podcast. And he was like, "Oh, Veronique, Matt got me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, 10,000 steps. I check to see if I got 10,000 steps. And now I'm not so excited about it. I just thought that was so funny. And I was like, you can look and count your steps. You feel good about yourself. That's fine. Matt's an old curmudgeon.
I'm the Grumble Goat.
He's the Grumble Goat. But it was just silly. Yeah. Silly.
Hello, everybody. This is Ryan.
This is Avery.
And we are from the Frame by Frame King Crimson podcast. And you are listening to Pods Like Us.
So, how do you arrange the guests that you have on your show, and are there any real standout moments that you've had in the show?
Well, the guests started with close friends
Who lived in our area, lived in our neighborhood.
Other since we're performers, a lot of our friends are performers, and so we know a lot of very talented and very funny people. So we've had already just a large pool of talented people to choose from. So having funny guests has been easy, and just now we've started to branch out into getting other podcasters on, because a lot of our guests are just entertainers, and we want to start collaborating with other podcasts.
Yes, it's really important to us that it's for everyone. So, to have every type of person, walks of life, not just performers, every color, creed, like that would be wonderful. Because we all have these grievances. But yes, so how we pick them is, in the beginning, because of COVID, we were limited in who we could invite, who we could see. And now that that's opening up again, I'm very excited to reach out to even more of our friends that we know. And then people we don't know. Because now you're our second, what is this,
We're appearing on somebody else's show? Is that what you're saying?
No. Just what's the computer?
Our distance. We're doing a Zoom interview. Yeah.
Yes, we don't like to do the Zoom interviews for our show. I mean, we've done it once, but that was the first one because we were still trying to figure it out. Just because we really love the personal part of what we do. So when we do invite a guest over, we like to cook for them. We like to have just a nice conversation, to weave out any cobwebs if people are nervous. We talk about the formula. We talk about all these things. And then we dive in and then we'll do the grumble with them.
In terms of standouts, this format, it makes it so interesting because everybody stands out just because everybody comes up with such a unique grumble that it's so much every time. I'm like, what? Jeans in bed?
I know.
That's what you hate?
That was so great. How funny.
Neti pots, sponges. Our guests,
Weird.
they always come in and blow my mind.
With
hair.
Kim brought in hair. That was so funny.
Hair. She hates human hair.
I know.
Yes. Yeah. Because she was saying that it's everywhere.
Yeah. Every guest is...
Yeah. And then I actually saw a wad of hair hanging from a fire escape 3 days later. I took a picture of it. I'll send it to you in the message just so you can see this. Tumbleweed of hair.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. Every time we have a guest, I'm blown away with whatever idea they come in with. And then that also, and you also feel when we have a guest, both of us amp up our energy a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because we're so cozy with each other that when we have a guest, we're both a little bit more engaged. And so whenever we have a guest, it's just there's a vibrance to it.
And there's an unexpectedness because we don't know what they're going to say. You know, we have been with each other enough to kind of think, you know, have a direction of where we think something's going to go. But when a guest comes in, we have no idea. So it's really exciting.
That's brilliant. So what podcast do you both listen to?
Oh, well, I like the one that he mentioned when we're taking like long trips together. He'll put on
This American Life?
This American Life. When we were in Lake Tahoe with his sister and her husband, we listened to that Dirty John podcast.
Dirty John, yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
I love exploring new podcasts. You know, when Serial came out, Serial was fantastic. Season 1, Season 2, loved those. I love so many different podcasts. I already mentioned the McElroy brothers. They do the Adventure Zone. They do My Brother and Me. They do Sawbones. But I love the old school ones. This American Life. Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Yeah, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Radio Lab.
Radio Lab, I like too.
I love Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. He does a really engaging history lecture. In terms of short format stuff like ours, I love The Memory Palace.
Oh yeah, The Memory Palace
Those
is
are
really
beautiful,
lovely.
like 10-minute episodes about little obscure moments in history that are usually emotional or beautiful, or it's like a word painting.
Yeah.
I love those. I also love there's a theatrical short form podcast that's called The Truth.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they record at the Magnet downtown.
Oh, how about
in
that?
New York, and
Sure.
they do like little tiny plays each episode. Yeah, I love all. There's tons
Is
of
it
podcasts
the same
that I love. I
people
could go all day on my
that
podcast.
do that, or do they get different people for each story?
They definitely have like favorites, like the same 4 that are usually in and out, but they also have random people that come in.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
Yeah, we don't listen to podcasts really together unless we're traveling somewhere. To answer your question, if it was just specifically us listening to things together, he likes my brother and me, but he's been with them for such a long time. Like they're his friends, and they're not my friends. Like I listen to that, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can listen to this for like 10 minutes, and then I have to leave or do something else. But it's just because I haven't spent as much time with them as he has. I like crime podcasts. I like, stories and learning and stuff like that. History of clothes, is it? No, I don't know. Something. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on my bicycle so much that like I just listen to a ton.
Yeah.
Or I'm running in the park and
The history of fashion. That's what it was. The
history of fashion?
The history of fashion is really fascinating. I like that one.
I love there's a very short podcast called Welcome to Night Vale, which is kind of like it's like a word jazz sci-fi story.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I loved this podcast called More Perfect, which is about the history of the Supreme Court in the United States.
How about that? You know what? I like the Searching Pod. I like their podcast a lot. I really like their dynamic between the two of them. That's someone that was in our group for a little bit. And the Xander and Stone and the Death and Decay Pod. I like them.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like the ones that we've been listening to recently. Oh, and our friend Rocio. She has a beautiful podcast.
Oh yeah, Rocio and Mercedes.
Yeah, Rocio and Mercedes amplifying the Afro in Afro-Dominican. And that's super, super interesting. A really, really interesting podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and for movie podcasts,
Reboot, Rewind.
Reboot, Rewind. Yeah,
we have to
we
promote
recently had one of the
Chris.
hosts of Reboot Rewind on our podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris did a great job.
Yeah, so we're trying to branch out and have new people come in and new perspectives, and it's important. It's definitely very important for us to have diversity within our podcast. So I think it's great because that's what brings us together. Silly grievances.
Absolutely.
Like we said earlier, it's like in a way, all you want to do is just get that grumble out of the way. It doesn't matter if there's any response to that grumble. It's just getting it out there.
Yes.
everybody's got a grumble.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And we don't have to cancel it. We don't need to cancel the grumble.
No.
We just need to release the grumble.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about convincing everybody that this is the way to think, and
Right.
it's not about like
Yeah.
solving that dilemma.
Right.
It's just here's the grumble, and it's like, yeah, man, and here's all the other things that it makes me think of, and it just diffuses. you know?
Yeah,
It's okay.
exactly.
It's okay to be grumbly about
okay
a
to
thing
be
or two here or there.
grumpy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay to be grumpy.
Yeah.
It is.
Just not all the time.
Said Sneezy to Doc.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, what advice would you give to people starting their first podcast?
Sound. I would say learn the sound part. And I would also recommend they learn how to edit their own podcasts.
Yeah, very important.
Just so you don't give all of your artistic, of course, if you are giving it to someone to edit, it depends on how you are in control of your own podcaster. But like, if you learn how to edit it yourself, you're not giving someone else that control over your own podcast, and then you know how to do it and make changes. And I feel like you're empowering yourself. So I love that Matt has learned all of those things, and
Yeah.
I had with very good intentions in the beginning, but it just didn't stick. I started editing video and learning that, and so he was editing audio and I was learning video. But I think that would be good, but also like have a specific motor for your podcast, like
Everybody's got to have a gimmick.
there you go.
My advice for your podcast is, I would say, get started.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because the thing about the podcast format is you can grow as a podcaster. The audience knows that the first episode is going to be, the one where you had the least, the most technical issues, the least like editing and sound and all that stuff, and like it's like you're it's allowed to get better. You don't have to wait till you're a master of editing.
Yes,
right. I mean, I learned all that as we went. We started with one microphone that both of us hovered around.
Yeah.
And both of us were like really close together, just talking into one mic. And,
Totally.
And I didn't know that much about sound leveling and things. And so that our first episode, the sound isn't that great, but the content is brilliant. But yeah. Get started and learn, but take the time as you're editing. Also take the time to watch the YouTube videos, the people that have done it before, and learn how to make the sound better, because it's not that hard, and you don't have to spend all that much money to get good gear.
Yeah, and support other people that are doing the same thing. Support other podcasters, and build relationships with people.
Definitely.
Community.
Yeah, social media is the hardest part for me. She's in charge of our Instagram.
Yes.
Just
If you're talking through us through Instagram, you're talking to me.
That's good to know.
He does a Facebook. He does our Facebook, but yes, it's primarily me. I mean, I like with our talks that when we were talking back and forth, it took me a minute to respond to you because I had to wait until I was home, and then I talked to Matt, and then I respond to you. But yes, but for all of the comments and things, that's generally me. And then you'll come back and like see what everyone said.
Yeah. Oh, I go back and heart everybody's comments on our posts.
I've seen that. So where can people get in touch with you and find you then? We're, speaking of Instagram, the Grumble Goat podcast is on Instagram. Otherwise, Veronique Hurley is on Instagram, and Mat Veronique is on Instagram. You can hit us up there.
Yes, my name is actually Ver Hurley on
it's
Instagram.
Ver Hurley.
It's Ver Hurley.
The Grumble Goat is easy to find. You can just Google that. It's on every podcast app. So your favorite podcast app has the Grumble Goat.
If you don't know how to work any podcasts, which would be weird because you're already listening to one, but you can also listen on Matt's website.
Yeah, the homepage is matlabatka.com/grumblegoat.
Yes.
And that's a quick Google search away, so I won't spell that out for you.
Yes, absolutely. And if you wanted to get in contact with us, you can just DM us on those platforms and we'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much for chatting with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's been an absolute delight. Lightning round grumbles was my favorite part.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That was wonderful.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for listening, and hope you listen again to another episode of Pods Like Us.